Okay, so now that we know that having content is critical to the R4 2.0 strategy, we have to create a content strategy for our plan of attack here. And our content strategy is going to have four real criteria here. One, it's got to be targeted at our ideal prospect first. And I say first because over time, you will certainly develop content going after what I would consider secondary prospects as well. But we don't want to try and overdo it here to start. We want to get into the rhythm of creating content, create a system that works. And so to start, we want to identify our one ideal prospect and create content for them. Number two, we need to create content for each phase of our sales funnel. Okay, our different pieces of content are going to pull people through our different stages of our sales funnel. So we need to create content for each phase of our sales funnel. And again, to keep this simple, we're going to only focus on three phases, and we'll discuss those here in a moment. Step number three, our content should logically lead to our services as the solution to their problem. So if we're selling Facebook advertising services, our content should lead in the direction of Facebook advertising services. If we're selling reputation services, then again, it should lead towards reputation services. And then number four, this content will be automatically distributed. It is a key part of our content strategy is we're going to use the power of the online advertising systems and retargeting to get our content automatically distributed. So those are the four key points of our content strategy. So first, we're going to be targeting our ideal prospect. And what we want to do to identify who that ideal prospect is and to make sure that our content really resonates with them is we're going to develop an avatar of our ideal prospect, and we're going to identify the key messaging points to speak to that avatar's goals, problems, and needs, and we will then develop content to match those messaging points. So again, this is our sales funnel, and we're going to develop content for each phase of our sales funnel, and really each phase of the psychology of the prospect in the sales funnel. So the attention, interest, desire, and action. But we're going to simplify that. So from attention, interest, desire, and action, we're just going to boil that down actually to three steps. Just to, again, keep it simple here. Awareness, evaluation, and decision. Awareness, evaluation, and decision. We're going to create content for each of those three phases. Now, again, as you get better at creating content, as you get a more sophisticated sales approach in place over time, you may want to get more granular in the steps that you're creating content for. To keep this simple to get started, we're going to focus on awareness, evaluation, and decision, and we're going to create content for each phase. The content must match their needs at each step. And when I say their, I mean our avatar's needs at each step to pull them through to you. And each stage reflects a different need. The needs of the prospect at awareness stage are different than the needs of the prospect when they're trying to make a decision. Your job is to connect the solution to their need to you. So your job is to connect the solution to their need to you. So through the course of your content, the solution to whatever need or challenge that they have should be connected to you ultimately. And again, as I've said numerous times already in this presentation, we want to keep this really simple. Okay, the KISS formula, keep it simple, stupid. We want to keep it super simple to start. Okay, the last thing that I want to see have happen is that somebody thinks that they have to, boil the ocean. They have to create all of this perfect content for some 8-step sales process that they've dreamed up as the perfect sales process. Let's start with keeping it simple, developing content for those three phases, and then again, if you want to create a more elaborate system later, that's fine. Right now, we're going to start with the three. Okay, the first one being awareness. The awareness phase in your content for the awareness phase helps them identify the problem that they have. Okay, some prospects aren't even aware of the problem that they have. Okay, others may have an idea of having a problem, but they don't really know how to define it. They don't really know the language of it, but they know that there's something there. And so your content is going to help identify what that problem is and to help define the problem, to give them language for it, and to let them know that, yeah, you have that problem. Other businesses like you have that problem. And then you also want your content to help them identify that there is a solution to that problem. Okay, people have identified this problem just as they have, and they have worked through it and found a solution. And then you want to leave them wanting more, right? The idea behind this initial piece of content is that I've become more aware of my problem. I've become more clear that I have a problem. I'm also clear now that other people, maybe my competitors, my peers, have found a solution. At the end of this content, I should be left wanting more. I should be left desiring, knowing what that solution is. How are other people overcoming that problem, and how can I do the same? That's content at the awareness stage. It should speak to prospects at a high level. It should speak to their goals, to their problems and their needs at a high level. Okay, so we want to speak to essentially as high a level as we can related to the content that we're creating. So if we're creating content for marketing and marketing services, I'm primarily going to be speaking to the goals of revenue growth, business growth, things like that. Okay, and speaking to the problems and needs related to that. So we're going to speak at a pretty high level with this content. Okay, and then we're going to move to step 2 or phase 2, which is evaluation. So once somebody is aware of their problem and they are aware of a solution, they start searching for more information. They start searching for solutions to their problems. Okay, this is the evaluation phase. So in the evaluation phase, we want to create content that helps them diagnose how the problem is impacting them. Okay, here's what that problem is doing to you. Here's the impact that it's having on you and your business. Okay, that could be in financial terms. It could be time wasted. It could be just missing their goals, things like that. And then you also, through your content, want to help them more clearly see that solutions can apply to them. Okay, that there is an answer for them. And in doing so, you're establishing your authority, okay, and the fact that you are a source of solutions. Okay, because again, this content, we're not putting this content out there just to be nice. We're putting this content out there to pull people through a sales process and to give us the best chance at closing these people on doing business with us. So we want our content to establish authority and establish that we are a source of solutions. So evaluation content should assist them in taking the first step towards the solution. So content that will help them diagnose the problem that they have, benchmark maybe against other competitors or peers. Again, speaking in marketing terms, you're generating leads at X dollars per lead, or you're only generating X number of leads per salesperson on your staff, and your competitors are getting 30% more than that. Right? Benchmarking is a very powerful way of getting somebody to realize that they need to solve a problem. Also, tools like checklists and blueprints, right? Things that can help them start taking action towards a solution, and various tools. Okay, tools, you see them, of course, in the marketing world in all kinds of different forms, right? It could be little pieces of software. It could be little calculators. I just saw a great mortgage versus buy versus rent kind of financial calculator for people considering buying a home. right? That kind of an online tool like that. So there's all kinds of things that you can offer here in this evaluation phase, but the idea is that you're getting them more engaged in starting to find a solution for their problem, and to really identify and acknowledge that they do have a problem that needs to be solved. Okay, once they do that, then they move to phase 3, the decision phase. They've decided that, hey, I have a problem, it needs to be solved. Your content and decision phase, you're trying to create urgency for them to find a solution. Okay, you're trying to put timelines in place, right, and move them towards actually sitting down with you and signing a deal. Okay, you want to help them evaluate solutions. You are clearly not going to be the only solution in town, and they are going to come across competitive options while doing their research. So you want to give them content that helps them evaluate those solutions, ideally, obviously, in a way that's favorable towards you. And you want to steer them towards you as the obvious solution to their problems. By establishing credibility, by establishing your expertise and your authority, you want to steer them towards you as the obvious solution to their problems. Ideally, they go through this process of consuming your content and say, at the end of consuming all this content, say, wow, if I'm lucky enough to be able to work with this company, this is who I want to work with. They really know their stuff. Okay, that is the ideal outcome from having them go through all of your content. So your content at the decision phase assists them in investing in a solution. Okay, so testimonials or reference clients, case studies, offering them some sort of one-on-one complimentary consultation or discounted consultation, phone calls, demos. Okay, these are all things that help during the decision-making process, phase 3 of our content. Okay, so again, back at the sales funnel here, know, like, trust, try, buy, and attention, interest, desire, action, which we've essentially consolidated down: awareness, evaluation, and decision. Okay, and creating online content for each of those phases. So that is our content strategy. We're going to create content for each of those phases. We're going to be focused very specifically on a single avatar, and we're going to create messaging that is directed specifically to that avatar, the challenges that they have, the goals that they have, the language that they use, so that our content is going to be as effective as possible for that ideal prospect. And again, I encourage you in this process, keep it simple. Okay, your first version of this, we should have one piece of content for each of those 3 phases. That's it. Okay, and of course, you're going to look at those 3 phases and think, oh, there's several other pieces of content I should have. Absolutely. But let's get you out the door with 3 pieces of content, one for each phase, and then you can continue to build on top of that foundation as you go along.